D number 14, Such a Time as This, in Jesus' name. Chapter 4. Goodness, stop that. It is January 11th, early Saturday morning, at the Davis home, Huntington Beach, California. Division Chief Jefferson Davis has lifted his tiny daughter from his wife where she sat on the side of their bed. He softly kissed the baby's forehead and gently placed her in the bassinet that stood a few feet away in the corner of their bedroom. He turned back to smile at his wife. She was as beautiful as the day he'd met her, though that day she was dirty and bloody and sweaty and injured and pitiful. He'd found the kidnapped daughter of a U.S. senator after she'd killed one of her abductors and run into the woods near Honey Lake in Northern California. And he'd happened to be at his vacation home nearby, shooting his guns at targets nailed to trees. She thought he'd been shooting at her. "What are you staring at, Jeff?" she asked, reaching up to smooth down some of her hair. He sat down on the bed and pulled her to him and kissed her softly. "I was looking at my wife and thinking about how grateful I am to have her in my life, and to have her as the mother of my children, and to have her right here near me where I can talk to her and love her." "Oh, honey, what has you so sentimental?" He sighed. "My job, I guess." "Remember the client who'd been poisoned a few weeks ago up in Montana?" She nodded. "Yeah, the guy who owned that big theme park, right?" "Yep. Well, Agent Owens went undercover and got the evidence needed to prove that he had indeed been poisoned with arsenic. It was the wife getting revenge for her husband having an affair. He slept with an employee, she found out, and instead of confronting him, she began poisoning him slowly. He's going to survive, and his wife has been arrested. The whole episode was so dark, though it really makes me grateful for the love and wholesomeness that is in our marriage." Mickey nodded at her husband, encouraging him on, realizing his need to talk about it. "The more I see, the more I learn. In so many cases, and in all of those crime cases that you see on TV, the real ones, I mean, there's absolutely one thing that would have kept all of those horrible things from taking place. In most of them, it's a beautiful start. A couple falls in love, they get married, they have children. Not necessarily in that correct order, but still, in all of those cases, it seems like a beautiful beginning. But then one of the spouses strays, or one gets mean, sometimes because of the stress of finances, or alcohol, or drug addictions. But finally, they cheat, or they fight and become abusers. And then there's divorce proceedings, and then there's a fight over custody or child support. And what began as a beautiful love story turns very ugly, full of hatred and violence." "And so," Mickey began, "what have you learned? What is the one thing that would have stopped all the ugliness?" Jeff sighed. "Well, you know I'm going to say God. But people don't understand when we just say, oh, things would be different if there was God in their lives. It's what God gives to us, the rules he gives to us to live by. If those people had merely followed the 10 commandments, just those 10, all of that evil would be held at bay. There would be no lying and no cheating and no stealing and no adultery. Honor your parents. Don't want what you can't have. Honor the Sabbath and turn your hearts to God on at least that day. Don't be so disrespectful as to use God's name in an angry curse. Don't worship idols like money or celebrities or porn or fantasies. And of course, the first and really most important, worship only the one true God. But I mean, even if you're not religious and you don't want any part of the first 4 commandments, just keeping the other 6 rules would have prevented every single case that I've ever seen or heard about. God makes it so easy. He doesn't give us those rules to make life hard, but to make it beautiful and filled with love and joy. He knows what he's doing." Mickey smiled. "Jeff, that was beautifully put. And next time you're asked to give your testimony, you should say what you just said." He smiled and shrugged. "Well, I just want everyone else to have the same joy and beautiful marriage that we have." Our marriage is indeed beautiful, Mickey agreed. And you and I both know why. It's because we've been shown how to put God first by the wonderful people around us, like the Kinos and the Lees and the Tanners and all the others in our giant adopted family. Jeff stroked her lovely face. Yes, we have been shown, and we've learned well. When we put God first, there is only goodness and light and beauty and love. But when I first found you, I wasn't really living a good Christian life. Mickey smiled. Yes, right. Before you met me, I believe you'd been living with that Laura person. Mickey made a face. Thank goodness she didn't appreciate the amazing man you were and left you. He nodded with a smile. Thank God. But you know, I didn't really start understanding that God is really real until you, Mick. You made me see him. Me? I wasn't even religious. You were goodness and light and sweet and kind, and you made me want to have a marriage like Ricky or Grandmaster Keno or Keegan or Chief Lee. It was you who made me reach out and realize it was their relationship with God that made their marriages so perfect. You made me want to give you what they had. God brought you to me, and I needed to rise up and be the best that I could be. And then, my love, you gave me sons, and now I can see God working in their lives, and that is beautiful. And now I have a daughter to love and protect and teach, and I have to do it right. You're doing an awesome job, Jeff. I'm so proud of you and all you do. I'm still feeling it. Are you? She quoted. From the time they'd first met, they had been afraid their feelings would change because they'd fallen in love so quickly. He grinned. Still feeling it, babe. Mickey smiled. Who knew this lovely 4-bedroom home would end up being so full of people? Jeff nodded. So, actually, I wanted to talk to you about that. Mickey frowned. Why are you frowning? She sighed. Well, if you're going to change your mind about Brooke staying here, it's going to break her heart, and mine too, really. What? No, I wouldn't do that. I'm happy to have Brooke with us. I wouldn't trust anyone else to help her the way I know that we can help her. Okay, then what do you want to talk about? Mickey asked. Well, babe, I'm thinking it's time to buy a new house, a bigger house. Daniel is 13 now and ready to have a room of his own and find his own identity other than the Davis boys. And I'm sure Jeremy would be down with that. And Scarlett can have her own room, and Brooke can have her own room. That's 5 rooms right there. We just need one more for the Coleys when they come to visit, but maybe 8 altogether would be better because you never know who else might come along. A new house? Really? Yes, really. Since becoming division chief, I'm making good money, and with your book sales and now your publishing sales, we can buy a much larger home. I was looking online, and we could get a 6 or 7 or 8 bedroom home. And then when Chris and Rissa come to visit later this spring, we'll have plenty of room. What do you think? Mickey nodded. I think it's exciting and a lot of work. Well, we'll have plenty of help, so don't worry about the work. Why don't you start looking at what you want? Just remember, we'll need a yard and a pool. Well, I'd want to stay in the Huntington Beach area, Mickey said. Then the boys won't want to have to change schools. Well, I agree with that. Do some research and see what you can find, okay? Mickey smiled. Okay. Jeff wrestled her back onto the bed and pulled her close, and he kissed her softly and stroked her cheek. I love you, Mick. I love you. He sighed. Okay, now that we've talked about the house, I want to talk to you about Brooke. What about her? How do you think she's doing? Mickey frowned. Well, physically, Jeffy says she's doing better and the baby's fine. She and I have had several long talks, and we've cried together a few times, and I gave her my book. Which one? My story. Mom married a monster. She's still reading it, but now she knows that I more than understand what she went through. The difference is I didn't get raped or impregnated. I was only tortured physically and mentally. Only, he murmured. She shrugged. It's perspective. Has her mother reached out? No, but Brooke reached out to her, and then I did too. You did? When? A few days ago. You didn't tell me you were going to do that. Sorry, it was a spur-of-the-minute thing. Brooke had spoken to her mom, and in a fit of anger, she let her mother know that Brooke would be staying here with us and would never go back to her mother. So what came of it? Well, currently, Mrs. Hopkins is extremely angry with Brooke and with us. Well, how does she figure she has a right to be angry? Well, what she told Brooke and also me is that she feels like Brooke purposely broke up her marriage. Does she not believe that Brooke is carrying his child? She has no choice but to believe, but she's talking like Brooke seduced him. Jeff sighed, his lips pressed tightly together. I know, Mickey went on. It infuriates me too. There's a lot of baggage to sort through, but for now, I just want Brooke to know that she's loved and cared for by us, and that we'll help her and support her and give her the best care. Well, is she still thinking about giving the baby up for adoption? Yes, she feels like it's the best thing she can do for the child, but she doesn't want it to be adopted by anyone close by so that she's not tempted to see the baby and get attached to him or her. So, like an out-of-state adoption? Jeff asked. Yes, and I told Bree, and Bree told Ricky, and Ricky told John Apple, and now John and Jody are hoping that Brooke will allow them to adopt her baby. Oh, wow. Well, that is certainly far away, and you couldn't ask for a better family or a better place to raise a child. What does Brooke say? I haven't told her yet. I just found out. New scene. It is January 11th, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Saturday morning, Ameritech Private Airport, Long Beach, California. Gabe Tanner's eyes blinked open when the captain announced their descent into the Ameritech Private Airstrip. He sat up straighter and looked around. There were 12 other recruits on the flight. They'd all enjoyed a nice conversation as they traveled toward a new life, one filled with challenges and opportunities. All of them were pretty much fulfilling a need to become a force for good. All of them were older than Gabe, 20 or about to be 20, and a few even older. All of them knew who Gabe was, and he tried to play that down. He didn't want anyone to get the idea that he thought he was above anyone else, and that he didn't want them to think that he was getting special treatment because his father was a division chief, or because he was good friends with the Kinos and the Lees. As the others on the flight stirred, Gabe's mind went to the extremely tearful farewell he'd received from his family, both last night and this morning. Last night had been Heather's 25th birthday party, so the entire family and friends celebrated together. His father did his best to make light of the separation, letting them know that at least he wasn't on his way to Afghanistan. It didn't help much. All they knew was the last time he'd left to pursue his career training, he'd almost died, and that memory made this farewell a sober experience. His mother tried to keep a brave face. His sister said they were going to fly out to visit him. The men, Jericho and CJ, Nolan, Peyton, Dalton, Uncle Chaz, and Uncle John all cheered him on and made jokes. And Charlie and Matt Stewart and Lucas Murphy had a little bit of hero worship thing going on. Sweet little Hannah cried and buried her face against his chest. He knew she clung to him much like Josie Brooks clung to young Eric, needing to be close to the guy who'd saved her. But Gabe knew it was really Taylor who'd saved her, but he didn't say that because Taylor wasn't here for her either. Wasn't there for her either. The hardest one to say goodbye to was little Iris. She cried and begged him not to go, both last night and this morning. He tried to explain to her. His older sisters tried to comfort her. His mother was calm and told him that she would be okay and that Iris was learning to be strong and to lean only on Jesus. And that actually helped Gabe mentally. His father told him to not let it get to him and focus on what he was trying to accomplish. Saying goodbye to his new brother and sister was also hard. By the time he saw them again, they'd probably be crawling. He'd held them and sang to them and kissed them and prayed over them, and he prayed over all of them, each member of his family. And now he was focused on the job at hand. He had training for 1 week before school started. His school load was less than a full-time student, but it was more than a part-time student. Combine that with the training, and there would be little time for anything else. But before focusing on the job at hand, he had today and tomorrow to focus on his girl. As a picture of her floated through his mind's eye, he sighed. She and her brother were actually meeting him on the tarmac. He smiled. He'd be seeing her in just a few minutes. He ran a hand through his hair to make sure he looked okay and took out his phone. Hey everyone, Tanner here. Hope your day's going good. Mine is about to be really good because my plane is coming into LA right now and I'm going to be seeing Taylor in a few minutes. Right now I'm sitting here with a bunch of really good guys that are all about to become Ameritech agents. He turned the phone around and aimed it at each one. They had already been asked permission and they were ready. Each of them stated their first name and a little about themselves. When they finished, Gabe turned the camera back on himself. So, as you can see, Ameritech only hires the best. These guys are top-notch and will be doing some great things in the future. So, I'm going to let you go, and I'll be back on soon when Eric Kino III is going to be videoing me when I get off the plane. See you in a few. He tucked the phone away. How do you do that, Tanner? One recruit asked. Do what? Talk on a video? Yeah, like, do you get nervous? I used to. Now I just see it as serving God. I'm not worried about offending anyone or saying the wrong thing. I just say what God puts on my heart. So you don't plan out what you're going to say? Well, when I give my little Sabbath day lesson, I think and pray about it beforehand. And the rest of the time, I just say whatever. If people don't like it, they don't have to listen. The guys all nodded as the plane touched down. In only a few minutes, they taxied to the small terminal and deplaned. Gabe grabbed up his giant duffel and a backpack and stood and shook the hands of his fellow agents. Guys, I'll see some of you in the jet dorms tomorrow night. The others, I'm sure, will run into each other. Yep, see you, Gabe, James Cater said. Go have fun with your hot girlfriend. Gabe smiled. Always a good time with Taylor around. Come on out with me and I'll introduce you to her and her brother. Oh, that'd be cool, one of them said. They headed down the small flight of stairs. Gabe went last. The others stood nearby watching. Young Eric Kino held up a phone, videoing. Gabe came down the stairs, and Taylor screamed and ran to him and jumped up into his arms and wrapped her legs around his waist. And their excited kiss lasted several moments, and he swung her around and put her down and looked deeply into her eyes and smiled. Hey, Tay. She giggled. Hey. It's really good to see you. You too. So let me introduce you and Eric to these guys. He introduced all 12 guys and only needed a little help to remember names. Taylor smiled prettily and shook hands and took time to speak with each one. Young Eric did the same and then said a few words to Gabe's and Taylor's followers, wished them well, told them to stay strong and to look for Gabe's Sunday video tomorrow, and ended the video. Waiting patiently nearby was Senior AIC, Assistant Agent in Charge, Agent Bentley Trout, who at one time was Jordan's bodyguard but then was promoted. Finally, Trout nodded. All right, recruits, load up. This bus is going to take us to the facility where you will be given your room assignments. Once you're settled, you're free until 9 p.m. Sunday evening. Let's load up. Young Eric then took a few minutes to speak with the man who'd kept his girl safe for several weeks, a man she'd become attached to and had been very sad to see him go. Senior Agent Trout, young Eric said, it's really good to see you. Jordan almost came with me today. If she'd known you were going to be here, she definitely would have come. He chuckled. Liar. She's at ball practice, and I know she has Agent Kim with her now, and she's in good hands. Young Eric nodded. I have no doubt, but it's you she loves. Trout smiled. Well, what can I say? When you're good, you're good. Young Eric rolled his eyes. Gabe stuffed his luggage into the trunk, and then he and Taylor climbed into the back seat of young Eric's car. Eric poked his head in the car. You guys ready? Good to go, Gabe said. Eric got in and looked into the rearview mirror. No messing around back there, Gabe chuckled. I won't do anything that you and Jordan wouldn't do. Young Eric frowned. I guess I can't say anything to that. Gabe smiled. Right? Well, anyway, keep your seatbelts fastened. Taylor giggled. They drove to the house, and as they did, Taylor talked about her dance classes and an upcoming show in March and a recital in May. She talked about a big senior outing to the canyons also in March and asked Gabe if he could possibly get time off to come. He told her he wasn't sure and he would check it out. At the house, Gabe was greeted by Ricky and Bree and welcomed back to their home. Gabe smiled warmly at the boy who blinked up at him. You must be Amari, he said brightly and extended his hand. Amari smiled. Yes, sir. Gabe laughed. Oh, good job on that, but you don't have to call me, sir. I'm just a kid. Amari blinked. You're a pretty big kid. They all chuckled. Well, Taylor has told me all about you and how happy she is to have a new little brother. Amari grinned and Gabe shifted his gaze to the small girl. Hello. Hi. So you must be Brittany? She nodded. Are you shy? No, I'm not shy. I was just waiting for you to talk some more. He chuckled. Oh, okay. Well, Taylor has told me all about you and how happy she is to have a little sister. Brittany nodded and smiled. Are you on TV? Nope. I just make videos, and I'm about to go back to school and work my job, too. Are you going to live here? No, I have to live at the dorm at my work, but I'm going to stay here tonight. Where are you going to sleep? Gabe looked up at Mrs. Keno. She nodded. Same room. He smiled. I'm going to sleep in the room right by the stairs. Oh, cool, Mari said. Well, Gabe, Bree began, I'm sure you're hungry after your long flight. Lunch isn't for a few hours, but I've put together some snacks. He grinned. Awesome, Mrs. Keno. Thank you so much. Let me go run my bags upstairs and I'll be right down. Taylor smiled. I'll go help him. Young Eric chuckled. Yeah, you do that. But Taylor, it's Saturday, Brittany complained. Aren't you going to play with us? Taylor grimaced. Bree sighed. It was Ricky who stepped in. Well, first of all, let's ask her properly. What does that mean? It means to ask the right way. Just because Taylor played with you last Saturday, you can't just expect that she's going to play with you every Saturday. Taylor's a busy girl and she has a lot of things to do. So you can ask her properly and see if she has time to play with you a little bit. If she does, fine. But if she doesn't, you accept that. Anyway, Britt, you don't really have much time yourself because after lunch, I thought you and Mari were going to come help young Eric and I teach a class at the GTCC over in Compton. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You guys are going to the new Gabe Tanner Community Center? Gabe asked. Ricky nodded. Yes. Why? Would you like to tag along? Gabe glanced at Taylor with a hopeful look in his eyes. She sighed. Well, I guess if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. Gabe chuckled, and Brittany and Mari cheered. Well, Tay-Tay, young Eric said, you didn't expect to come home, go upstairs, and keep Gabe all to yourself, did you? She made a face. I was hoping to. Just for this one day. Well, you'll still be with him, Bree reminded her. And right now, you still have a while before lunch. Go upstairs. Have him unpack his suit for tomorrow and see if it needs steaming, and if so, bring it to me, and then you can have some alone time. Yes, ma'am, Taylor said softly. She took Gabe's smaller bag. Gabe gathered the rest, and they headed upstairs. Gabe looked around the room. He'd spent a lot of time in this room, and he realized it, too, felt like home. He immediately unpacked his bathroom supplies, while Taylor unzipped his suit bag. The dress shirts looked okay, so she hung them in the closet. The suit did look a little rumpled, so she ran it downstairs. When she came back, she carried a tray filled with the snacks her mom had prepared for Gabe. He smiled when she came in and set it on the small table in front of the two wing-back chairs. He went straight to the door, closed it, locked it, went and grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the bed. What are you doing? Taylor asked. I'm making it up to you. He pushed her backward and she fell onto the bed, and he lay down beside her and leaned over her and stroked his fingers over her cheek and leaned down and kissed her. And she gave a soft moan. He sighed. When he finally lifted up, he looked deeply into her eyes. I love you, Taylor Kino. Her eyes teared up and she sniffled. I love you too. I missed you so much. It's only been a week since New Year's. I know, but that was only a few days, and before that it was almost a month, and the time before that it was 3 weeks, and the time before that you died. Oh, wow, you are really keeping track. I remember because every moment away from you is torture. I get it, babe. But I thought you told me you were going to help me by not complaining about being apart. Because, remember, I'm not going to get to see you very much even though I'm here. I am going to help you. I am going to be strong. I'm just disappointed that I won't have you all to myself just this one day like I thought I would. He smiled. Brittany was disappointed, too, that she didn't get you all to herself for just this one day. Yeah, well, Brittany is only 5. He nodded. That's my point exactly. Taylor's eyes opened wide. Are you saying I'm acting childish? He had to think fast. Nope. Because if you are, then I am. But, babe, I'm just saying we need to be strong just a little longer. We need to be better than a 5-year-old. We can do this, Tay. And we can do it well or we can do it poorly. And I usually try to do things well. You? She nodded. Yes, of course, me too. It won't be much longer before we dodge rice pellets and jump in the car and drive away to a romantic honeymoon, and I make love to you. Hold on, you are gonna be Mrs. Gabe Tanner, Mrs. Taylor Kino Tanner, and it's gonna be awesome. That is, if you'll still want to marry me. I will. I hope so, he said as he leaned down and kissed her again. And when he raised his head, it had been several minutes, and he found he desperately wanted to touch her, so he rose off the bed, cleared his throat, and smiled. Let's see what's on that tray. New scene. It is January 11th, still, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday afternoon, at the Stewart Ranch, Pine Forest, Georgia. Melena Apple held the lead as Rocky walked in a circle around the corral. She smiled at Hannah, who sat atop the large yet gentle bay horse. That's good, Hannah. Sit up a little straighter and move back. Sit up a little straighter and move back, and you won't be thrown out of the saddle like that. Good. So good, sweetie. You're ready to try a trip around the corral on your own if you want to. Hannah's eyes got big. No, I don't want to. Not yet. Lena smiled. That's fine. We'll take it slow. She watched her a minute. I gotta say, sweetie, you look mighty pretty sitting up there with your hair blowing back. Hannah smiled and then looked around. Is Charlie gonna ride today? Lena smiled a knowing smile and shook her head. Right after martial arts this morning, Charlie and Matt had to go with Dad to help the Mannings move. Oh, she said, obviously disappointed. Where are they moving to? They're moving to Texas, where Mr. Manning got a new job. Hannah nodded. I hope I don't ever have to move. So you like it here? Lena asked. Oh, yeah, I love it here. Even after what happened at school yesterday? She shrugged. Well, I'm sorry Matt got in trouble, but I mean, Axel didn't hurt me. He was just being mean. He didn't hit me or anything, so I mean, it wasn't so bad. And Charlie told me that not everybody is nice. Lena nodded. Well, he's right, apparently. But here in Pine Forest, most people are pretty nice, so don't let what Axel did bother you. I won't. Lena pulled Rocky to a halt. Do you need help getting down? Hannah shook her head as she correctly lifted her right leg over the backside of the horse, removed her left foot from the stirrup, and gently jumped to the ground. Lena nodded. Good job. Charlie's a good teacher. Hannah smiled. Who taught you to ride? My dad. I started riding when I was about 3 or 4. I used to ride with my dad walking beside the horse, and Jake would ride next to me with his dad walking by him, and then sometimes Jake and I would ride together until he was about 10. When the Tanners came down, Heather and the girls also started riding with me. They're older than me. But Jake is the same age as you? He's 9 months older than me. So were you and Jake always together? I mean, like boyfriend and girlfriend? She gave a soft laugh. Well, I pretty much always liked Jake, but we were never girlfriend and boyfriend. He kind of started ignoring me as he got older. Why? Well, he says he liked me, but he knew he was going off to be in the military, and he didn't want me to have to wait around for him. But I finally explained to him that I'd do that anyway, and he admitted he'd always liked me, and we fell in love pretty fast and got married last June. We had 3 months together before he was deployed. And deployed means they sent him off to war. Yes, well, we're not at war right now, but they still sent him off. Jake is special forces, and they're always needed for bad situations all over the world. Right now, he sneaks into places where terrorists hide and rescues people and gets them to safety. Well, that's pretty cool, Hannah said as she walked with Lena to put Rocky up. They worked together to untack him, and then Hannah grabbed a brush while Lena grabbed a curry comb, and they went to work grooming the horse. So, Hannah began, I guess you miss Jake a lot. Lena nodded. So much. I try to focus on other things, but he's always in my mind and heart, every second. That sounds kind of sad, Hannah said. Lena smiled. Well, it's not fun. I can't wait for him to come home. When is he coming home? Well, we're never exactly sure, but he could be home maybe in March because he left in September and his deployment is supposed to be for 6 months, but it could be shorter or it could be longer. Do you think Jake will, when he gets home, do you think he'll mind me living with his parents? Oh, honey, of course he won't mind. Jake will love you being with his parents. I'm sure he'll see you as a little sister, and he'll want to get to know you and be a brother to you. How do you know? I just know, because Jake is a really good guy. Is he like Charlie and Matt or like Gabe? Yes, he is. He loves God, he loves his family, and he'll love you, Hannah. I'm sure of it. Do you have pictures of Jake? Do I have pictures, she said with a laugh and pulled out her phone. They stood close together, thumbing through dozens of pictures. Why does he have his shirt pulled over his face there? Hannah asked. Lena smiled. Because he told me to stop taking his picture and I wouldn't stop, and he pulled his shirt up over his face, and I told him that was even better and took a bunch of pictures. Hannah looked hard at the pictures. He's got a lot of muscles. Lena nodded dreamily. Yeah, he does, she said softly. Hannah nodded. He's really cute. I hope he likes me. I promise you he will. Maybe one day Charlie will like me too. Lena's eyebrows rose. She glanced at Hannah as she brushed Rocky. Charlie likes you a lot, Hannah. He'll be a good and loyal friend to you, I promise. Hannah nodded. One day I hope he likes me. Likes me, she said emphatically. Oh, well, that's interesting. So are you telling me that you like my brother? Hannah smiled. I really do. I've been trying to keep it a secret, but I really need to tell somebody, and I don't have any friends yet. I don't have any girlfriends yet. Lena smiled kindly. I'm glad you felt like you could tell me. Yeah, I thought about telling Mom, but I think she doesn't want me to like a boy yet. Why do you think that? Lena asked, though she knew that the consensus with the adults was that Hannah wasn't ready for any puppy love relationships yet. I just feel it. I think they probably think that I'm all messed up by what Carl did to me, and I'm like half crazy or something, but I'm not. I know Carl was evil, and I know I prayed and I asked God to help me, and he actually did send me help. He sent Taylor and Gabe, and I'm not all messed up in the head. Even the therapist lady said I was handling things pretty well, and I really like Charlie. Lena didn't try to talk her out of it because she realized that Hannah just needed to talk about her feelings without anyone telling her to not feel that way. What do you like about Charlie? Well, he's so nice, and he's really cute, don't you think? And he's calm. It seems like he's really calm, and I like that. I like that he doesn't make me nervous or worried that I might say the wrong thing or ask the wrong question. He doesn't laugh at me. He always listens when I talk to him. And he smiles at me when he sees me. And he's really strong. And I don't know, I feel like I could tell him anything. Wow. Those are some pretty nice things to say about Charlie. Don't you like your brother? Oh, yes, I like him. I love him, and I'm so proud of him and the young man he's becoming. So you guys get along? Sure. I mean, we used to argue sometimes, but not too much over this past year. He's growing up. Hannah nodded. One day, I hope he likes me. I can wait. Maybe when I'm in high school. Lena's eyes misted. The sweet little Hannah Brown was saying things that sounded so much like Lena herself had thought all those years, mooning after Jake Apple and wondering if he would ever notice her. She hoped Hannah wouldn't go through the same hurting and longing and wishing and dreaming that Lena herself had, though Lena acknowledged it had been worth it. New scene. It is still January 11th, Saturday afternoon. We're at the Atlanta Division of Ameritech offices in Pine Park, Georgia. Division Chief Senior Agent Tanner, Division Chief Senior Agent Keegan Tanner glanced around the conference table as he listened to the report being given him. Things were coming into alignment perfectly to be able to do what he wanted to do. At the table were two young and brilliant Ameritech agents who were about to go on a very dangerous assignment. They would be working with the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, with Corporal Byron Camp, a man Keegan knew personally from his FBI days. He was a good, trusted man whom Keegan had personally vetted. Keegan had given this top-secret assignment to fellow brother-in-arms, Senior Agent Braden Turner, a Jet, and close friends from Keegan's military days, who'd been special forces with Keegan and John Apple in Afghanistan. He was 6 years Keegan's junior and had joined up with Ameritech a few years after Keegan and was currently giving his report. Braden nodded as he spoke. And as you know, GBI Special Agent David Frank was able to work undercover in the Rome City Commissioner's office as an intern. After several months, his report is that what you suspect is confirmed. There are a lot of nefarious goings-on, not just favoritism or cronyism, but drug deals, chop shops, and even prostitution. What about the mayor? Keegan asked. Braden nodded. The mayor we believe to be a straight shooter as far as his running the town, though not in his personal life. He's turned a blind eye, and his hands are tied because the police chief has made veiled threats to expose his affairs to his wife and to the public. Keegan nodded. Go on. Tell me about this chief of police. Our guy, Agent Merrill, has been keeping his ear to the ground. He says the police chief is new. He's only been in office 1 year. He's touted as the youngest chief in the town's history. How old is he? He's 28. Keegan shook his head. Here's the story. It begins with the former chief. Darnell Hunt married Trudy Jackson when he was 22. He was a new police officer. They had a son, Moss Hunt, when Darnell was 25. They had another son, Barry Hunt, when Darnell was 27, and he had a daughter, Emery, when he was 28. Financially, they were barely surviving, so he took some side jobs, moonlighting as security for some private companies. His wife tried to do the Susie Homemaker thing the best she could. She kept to a budget. She attended PTA meetings and rec sports. The marriage started to break down when the stress of trying to provide got to Darnell and his eyes started wandering. Not only did he start hooking up with women, he started hooking up with quick ways to make a buck, which included, of course, the sale of drugs. Keegan sighed and nodded. Financially, things eased, Braden went on, when Darnell was able to hold a few things over some of the city commissioners, and they made him chief of police when he was 35. That's when things in Rome, Georgia, began to get pretty dark. There was rampant crime, a lot of burglaries, car theft, drugs, shoplifting, etc., and Darnell Hunt was involved in pretty much all of it. A few of the commissioners tried to fire him. One, a woman, ended up raped and beaten, and they never found the perp. Another, a man, had his business burned down. After that, no one ever spoke out again. Darnell was police chief for 17 years. He retired a year ago at the age of 52, and the new chief of police is none other than Moss Hunt, Darnell's oldest son. Rumor is Darnell Hunt intends to run for mayor next year. Well, looks like we've got our work cut out for us, Keegan muttered. Well, one more thing that I think you will find very interesting. Moss Hunt was in the same high school graduating class as Agent Blackman and Mr. Jericho Jones and, of course, Joshua Jones. Keegan blew out a breath. Okay, got it. Moss is a bad dude. Maybe worse than his father, Braden went on. It would be cool if you or someone could strike up a conversation with one of them and get their take on Moss Hunt, Braden added. Well, first, if I did that, CJ would know immediately that something was going on, and I don't want either CJ or Jericho to know that I'm looking into what happened there 10 years ago. He sighed. But I may have a secret weapon that I can use. Secret weapon? Keegan smiled. Yeah, I might take my daughter Rose into my confidence and have her ask them a few questions. She could handle that with ease. Braden smiled. Well, she's worked in that same capacity before and ended up falling for the guy. Well, she eventually realized the guy was a loser, and now she's completely fallen for Jericho, so asking him a few questions about his high school class isn't such a big deal. Good. Now here's another bit of information that could give us a way in, Braden said. Lay it on me. It's the daughter, Emery. Word has it that she hates her brothers and hates her father, but is terrified of them. Do you know why? Rumor says the brother, Moss Hunt, he offered his sister to one of his friends as payment for a lost bet. He delivered her to a motel room and let the guy have his way with her. And where did you hear that rumor? Well, that's our other guy, Agent Tate. He struck up a conversation with Emery one night when she was drowning her sorrows at a bar. He told her some sob story of his own and got her to trust him. Apparently, they are pretty much a thing. A thing for real or just working? Jury's out on that one. Keegan sighed. Well, that is a highly dangerous situation. Yep, and I know you know it. So she pretty much trusts him completely, and I'm thinking if we can work this right and she feels safe enough, we can take down the whole family and all of their associates, which includes at least 8 other operations in or around the Rome area. Well then, we're going to need more men, Keegan muttered. Oh, we definitely will, if we want to do this right with as little bloodshed as possible. Okay. Good job, Ray. I'll arrange for the Army and coordinate with Byron and Special Agent Frank. I don't want to drag this out too long. Come up with a plan of action. Get all locations, all names, and we'll do a giant sweep. Roger that, Braden said. New scene. It is still January 11th. It's 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Saturday afternoon. Gabe Tanner Community Center, Compton, California. Gabe smiled up at the large tan brick building with his name on the front in large metal letters. The building, a former church and school, and the parking lot were completely surrounded by a high red brick colored wrought iron fence. It was obviously recently painted and landscaped, and it was a very attractive complex, especially compared to the surrounding area. It was right where it needed to be. What do you think, Gabe? Ricky asked as they stood in front of the building. Gabe nodded. It's pretty darn cool. He glanced around. There are a lot of cars here. Well, they all know that you're coming along, Taylor said. Gabe sighed because he still didn't know what to think or say about all that kind of stuff. He grabbed his bag out of his car, the one he'd been given as a birthday present from the Keno/Adams family last year. The others there to help with the demo walked up to join them. This building looks awesome, Jordan said as young Eric put his arm around her. Gabe, Logan said as he and Melody joined them. Gabe hugged Logan, whom he considered a brother. It's so good to see you, Logan. I watched every church service and your Christmas concert. You are really amazing, bro. I can't wait to buy your album. Aw, thanks, man. You know, I love doing that stuff. I know, and it shows. Gabe smiled at Melody and then kissed her on the cheek. It's nice to see you, Melody. You too, Gabe. It's like a light just went on when we drove up and saw you standing there. Gabe smiled. Logan nodded. She ain't lying. Well, thanks for that, Gabe said softly and smiled as JoJo and his new girl came to greet them. JoJo, Gabe said with a grin, so good to see you. They hugged heartily. JoJo, I am so impressed at the way you preach. There's something about how you put things and your enthusiasm. I am so proud of you. Thanks, kiddo, JoJo said glibly. I'd like you to meet my girlfriend, he said softly, smiling at the girl by his side. Raylyn, this is Gabe Tanner. Grinning, she held her hand out to Gabe, which he took and pressed between both of his hands. Raylyn, I am really happy to meet you. And I'm really happy to meet you too, Gabe. I'm a huge fan. My sister, too. Thanks. Is she here today? No, she's actually at a little get-together that she was invited to by Pastor Pat. She and Melody's brothers and Bristol Palma and Brooke and Zoe and Ryder are working at cleaning up the backyard space behind the church, and then they're going to go to the house next door to Reverend Clark's home. Pastor Pat is thinking about buying it, and he's been given permission to check it out closely. So he decided to get their take on the place, and then he's going to treat them all to pizza. That's interesting. Just strange group to invite, don't you think? Taylor said. Raylyn shook her head. Kaylee says it's not so strange. First, they all live close by, but mostly, she says, she thinks Pastor Pat is interested in Bristol. Really? Melody said, both surprised and pleased. Yeah, but isn't he like way older? Taylor asked. Well, he's 27, and Bristol will be 19 soon, so it's a little less than 9 years, Raylyn supplied. Melody nodded. That's not so bad, especially because Bristol has always been very grown up and mature most of her life. She's like an old soul, though that might be because her grandmother raised her. Ricky nodded. She's a mature, good girl, and Patrick Barnes would be very good for her because he's a good guy who loves the Lord. Now, let's get the mats and equipment out of JoJo's truck and head inside. Yes, sir, the brothers all chirped. Hey, Mari, Gabe said, if you'll carry my bag, that will help me, and I'll go help carry the mats. Amari smiled. I got it. And that is the end of chapter 4.